Okay, water signs. This is the second time I'm attempting to record this video. So, the first time the dog was, being really active and rambunctious. This I don't normally do either because my decks, they tend to give me more positive stuff. I asked for what you should focus on, and that tends to make it generally more positive readings. Not that I would shy away from negative readings, because I try to be very truthful, right? And life is full of good and bad stuff. It's not all bad, it's not all good, right? But this is kind of a negative reading. Sorry. So when I asked on what you should focus on for today, water signs, the King of Swords was the first card to come out, and it came out in the reverse. I'll flip it so you can see what it looks like upright. So to me, this card is always Odin. This is Odin with his ravens, memory and thought. And he is balancing. He's balancing those thoughts the way he's holding the sword. But when he's in the reverse, he's imbalanced. He is, and I did have to look some of this up in the book because I'm not quite used to it, and something told me I should look it up in the book. So when he's in the reversed, he can be kind of militant. He can be kind of manipulative in terms of like emotionally and mentally abusive. This could be somebody giving you bad advice financially, or basically taking advantage of you financially. We have the Wheel, and the Six of Pentacles is clarifiers, both of which came in the upright. So Six of Pentacles is talking about a balance, and a balance in terms of the things in your material world. Most people read it as giving and receiving all of the time. There's three hands that are holding out for pentacles, and there's one person giving it, right? So this could be, this King of Swords in the reverse. He could be manipulating you into, when this card is in the reverse, it talks about debt, it talks about gambling, it talks about one-sided pity. Like somebody is like, oh, look at me, I gave money to this person who was in need, so I'm such a great person. Not because they wanted to help you, just because they wanted to be thought of as a good person, right? You get what I'm saying there? So this could be somebody manipulating you and your finances, and they're manipulating your finances through your emotions, through your thoughts, in a very negative way. And the Wheel, it talks about, it's the Wheel of Fortune. It spins. Sometimes you're up in your fortunes, sometimes you're down in your fortunes. And this particular wheel, she's getting ready to cast a spell. It's almost closed. I don't normally talk about this, but she doesn't fully have it closed yet. And there's one stone there, right inside the circle. There's one outside the circle, there's another, but standing right at the doorway to the circle, before she can get it closed, there's another stone there. So the casting circle, if you're not familiar with it, it has two purposes. The first purpose is to keep something in. The second purpose is to keep something out. And the things that are in the circle can see the things outside the circle, and vice versa. But it's mainly a spell. So this card I don't normally associate with, like, other than the casting circle, right? Other decks, like the Ethereal Visions, it's a figure holding a circle that's like a calendar. It has like the zodiac signs. It has moon signs, alchemical signs, but this deck is unique, and one of the reasons I liked it is because the wheel is the casting circle. So you can look at it as not only the wheel of time or the wheel of fortune or wheel of fate, if you want to look at it that way, but you can also look at it as like an ability to make something out of time, right? When you're casting a spell, you are trying to create something to either block something, it's a defensive spell, or it's an offensive spell. You're trying to manifest something in your life, right? And with this image, this casting the spell circle in sand, sand is associated with time because the water is way over here, and this is guarded by the rocks, it's guarded by the earth. Even though it's in sand, and time will eventually, and the water, the tide, the emotions will eventually take the casting away. It's going to take them a little bit longer. It's more on solid ground than if it were in the sand, say over here, right at the water's edge. So, I'm hoping all of this makes sense to you. The other card that came out originally when I asked for 2 cards from the Ethereal Visions, along with the King of Swords, 7 of Swords. And 7s are they're about action, they're about thoughts, they're about balance, balancing two sides. A knife has to be balanced in order to properly throw it, in order to properly use it as a cutting device, right? So this card, this particular 7 of Swords, to me always looks like, I have trouble deciding if he's trying to protect the swords or if he's a thief and he's trying to hide them underneath his robe. Like he's taken the swords from this tent and stolen them, and he started on the road with them, like running away, and then he ended up dropping a couple of them. So now he's trying to put them back, and he's, trying to sort of keep them under his orange cloak, right? Now this card, it can be talking about a lot of negative things, and the clarifier for it was the King of Wands. King of Wands is usually talking about strength and transformation. He's talking about clarity, making decisions, sometimes setting up a structure based on those decisions. But he can also be talking about things like, and this is what I had to look up because I don't normally read the cards in relation to like actual things. But this King of Wands can be related to property settlements, charities, and trust funds, according to the Druidcraft book. So again, he's related to something financially, like this 6 of Pentacles and this King of Swords in the reverse. And this card, it's a card of getting away with something sometimes. It's a card of a hacker, somebody who's like a workplace gossip who is trying to sabotage you. They're trying to get away with causing issues at work, causing problems for other people because they don't want people looking at what they're doing, right? They're being deceptive, and the way they're going about it is pointing the finger at somebody else when they're really the one who's doing it. So kind of, I'm very sorry, water signs, But focus on, watching your back. Document everything that you do. Make sure that you do everything in a place where, like the cameras, most offices at work, most places at work have cameras, and they have hidden cameras, and then they have cameras that are quite obvious. Make sure you're doing stuff, especially if it has something to do with money, if it has something to do with whatever might be considered valuable resources where you work at. Make sure that you're doing whatever you're doing for your job in front of the cameras where they can see you, so they know it's not you, taking the money, or it's not you taking the whatever product or something. Make sure that you're watching your back in terms of people gossiping on you. You don't necessarily have to defend against the gossip. Definitely don't defend against the gossip by, confronting the person and saying, these people will get caught. That's part of what the wheel is about. These people are going to get caught, whether it's somebody at work who is manipulating you and manipulating your finances, or it's somebody in your personal life, a friend or whatever. These people are going to get caught out. That's a huge part of the Wheel of Fortune. You just need to focus on protecting yourself and focus on understanding what they're doing and how they're doing it, so that you can avoid getting caught in the trap that they're going to get caught in. And they're going to get caught in it very quickly, I think. It's not going to go on, even if it's been going on for a long time, it's not going to go on for very much longer. Have a better day. I'm not quite sure how to end this. I'll see you tomorrow.